projection of his voice than I do, and he can control the room better than I can. He may not even need a mic. I'm really excited to have Wade Minter as our speaker tonight from Dual Boot Partners, but his side job, and maybe more famous job, is the voice of the Hurricanes. He should be a public speaking coach.
I should.
We have a podcast. You probably really know your voice.
All my free time.
Yeah, I know. Cane season's not like that short. As always, and especially as we're getting towards the end of the year, I did want to thank all of my fabulous volunteers on my board. Like I said, it takes a village. I get the spotlight and all of the credit and the accolades, but these guys do all the hard work, really. And appreciate them and their service and all of their hard work for us for this past year. We have some changes being made next year to our board. And so it's my honor to propose our new board for 2025. We play musical chairs every year. We get to talk to the people on the board and say, how did you like your role? Did the seat fit you? Did it use your strengths to your liking? Or would you like to move into a different seat? I'm happy to say that I only have one person choosing to leave our board for next year. We are playing musical chairs, and we are splitting a role and creating 2 new roles. And so I'm going to propose our new 2025 board. You'll see a lot of familiar faces and a couple of new faces. And I have made the decision to step down as the president for next year, and will be the past president next year. I'll still be on the board. I'll still be, there were gasps, and I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. I'll still be on the board as the past president. I've been on the board 7 years. Some of you know I am a working mom. I have 2 young kids. I also have 3 businesses I'm trying to grow and run. And I do a lot of volunteer work, and so I have divided my time and energy across a lot of competing sources and really just need to be able to focus a little bit better next year. So I'm turning over the reins of president to our fearless leader and membership chair this year, Brooke Smith. And I have all the confidence in the world with him. He brought a lot of great ideas. We've expanded membership. We've added new levels of membership. We've added new levels of sponsorship. He's brought a lot of great ideas. And that role has grown so big that we have split it into 2 roles. So if you see how he moves some faces around and played some musical chairs, we are going to bring on 2 new members to our board for next year. Manish, who's going to do membership. And then Anna, who will do sponsorship. So she'll be in charge of our corporate sponsors. And with Scott's departure, Doug's going to move into the communications role. It takes a little bit more front and center role instead of a behind-the-scenes role. And Frank's going to graciously stay on our board and step into the secretary role so I can be past president. Frank's been past president for like 8 years. So he's actually like our past president, but he's been on our board for so long, and he's so loyal and committed and dedicated, I can't lose him. So musical chairs. So this is my proposed new board. So what we do in this meeting is all members have the right to vote for our proposed new board for next year. So we are going to all say aye. And if anyone opposes this board, you can say, nay. Aye. But if you say nay, that might be you volunteering for a role on the board. And then next month at our holiday party, end of year party on December 12th, which hopefully you all RSVP to come to, we do the official inauguration and swearing in of the new board. So only members in the room can vote. New guests, we love you, but you can stay quiet during this vote. So all members in favor of our proposed new 2025 board, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Good, yay! I appreciate that. Again, it takes a village, everyone's countless hours and great ideas and new perspectives and commitment and loyalty to us, continuing to grow as a community and continue to add value as a community and really listen to our members and find new ways to serve. So thank you to our proposed board. Next is our MAC. So this is our advisory board. Their commitment is only twice a year for a fun lunch at the Carolina Exotic Car Club. For those of you that follow me on LinkedIn, first of all, I apologize for all of the things you see. But we had our fall MAC meeting last week at the Carolina Exotic Car Club with this esteemed panel of advisors to give us feedback, to share our thoughts and ideas, to share our successes, and to get ideas of how we can improve our programming, our sponsorship, our membership, and our value for the next year. So thank you to our MAC. If this is not your first time, you already know this, but we are a national organization again. We have a really strong, someone that's better at math than me, 1949 was a long time ago before I was born. Years, like 80? 75? Yeah, history, right? Like really long history. I know you don't know, you don't think I look 75. So. Yeah.
30.
Really long history, thank you. And we were at the biggest and largest 62 chapters. Right before the pandemic and the CompTIA acquisition, we were at 35 chapters. And then we kind of dissipated. Some people stopped meeting. We continued strong through the pandemic, continuing to provide programming and have grown. And as of March of this year, we became a part of a national AITP association again with 11 chapters, RTP plus 10. And we're looking to add 2 more before the end of the year in Texas, I think Dallas, Texas, and Las Vegas. So that's our national website, just regular AITP.org. We're AITP-RTP.org. We have a job board. I know one of the benefits and values that we add to our organization is to include people that are in transition, looking for new jobs. I know in the last 2 years it's been a tough tech market. There's a lot of people that have been impacted with layoffs and that are in transition, and we want to create a safe and welcoming space for you to be a part of this networking group. We also encourage and invite and include a lot of our staffing partners in town as well, who can maybe help provide those jobs for those people. So we have the capability within our website to have a job board. Here's the information, and if you're interested, you can email me at president. We also recently, last month, began the membership referral program. This is because members, you're our best source of growth, right? You know people, you know friends, you have colleagues that would benefit from professional or personal development, would benefit from coming and networking and being part of this community, have lost their jobs and were impacted. You want to find ways that you can help and serve those people that you know. We'd love for you to help us grow. So we started our referral program because the people that you know, we want to know them and meet them and invite them to our community. And this benefits both of you. So the referrer, if a guest or referral joins, they get 1 extra month added to their membership. And the 2 months added if you're the referee. And if you are the referred person, you get 1 month added to your membership. It's a tongue twister. Good luck. Read, don't listen. For an annual membership. So that both parties win, win-win. We like referral programs. We also have started to do occasional surveys. This is how we learn, how we grow, how we make sure that we're making sure that we're adding value, doing the right programming, providing the right food, the right speakers, the right topics. And so after this event, you'll see a survey. It's optional and it's anonymous. We do not know your specific answers, who you are, and only the board sees those answers compiled in the survey format. And then about twice a year, we're probably going to do member surveys. We're getting to the end of the year, so we'll probably do one in December or January to just get pace, check the pulse, see how everything is going and everyone's doing. We have 7 new members in the last 30 days. So welcome to... If you are brave and want to raise your hand or stand up and take a bow. Susan, Walter, I'm going to guess Liza, Christina, Lisa. I spelled you with 2 L's. Spelling's not my forte. That's welcome. Improvement. Small improvement. Yeah. No one ever hired me to do slides for it. All right, individual membership. If you are a guest today, we love having you. Welcome. You are welcome to continue to be a guest. If you are looking for a sale and a cheaper way to get involved, we have what I like to refer to as the buy two, get one free sale of the 90-day membership for $90. And if you join as an annual member, we will comp you your $45 guest ticket towards that $279, which also makes that a reduced price and is also a better deal than paying $45 every time you come. And the best part about a membership is you can proxy your seat. So we often have people share their seat if they're traveling, if they can't make it, if they have a conflict, but they want someone to use that seat. You can give it to a friend, colleague, or neighbor, or someone in need, and they can attend at your place. If you're interested in membership, please see Brooke at membership. We also have group membership, which is like our corporate membership. So the individual membership is your individual. Now, if you are wise and work for a cool company, you could submit your receipt and get reimbursed for your membership from your corporate that you work for. But the group membership is more for our corporations that want to use the seats as an employee recognition, training, continuous development, reward type of program. And this is the way to get involved as a group member. We have 5 companies that are currently a part of our group membership program. In sponsorship, we made it easier with only 4 choices, kind of like a Mexican restaurant or a Chinese food restaurant, and not a Cheesecake Factory because you can get overwhelmed with the amount of options and choices. So 4 choices of how you can sponsor us. If you work for a company that did really well this year, congratulations. If you have extra money and you were looking for ways to support a nonprofit association, an IT association, and a great community here in town, we'd love to talk to you about how to put that money to good use. But we also understand it's also budgeting season for next year. And so if you're in that marketing budgeting season and trying to figure out where to spend your money, we'd love to talk to you about what you're looking for, who you're trying to meet, and if our members and attendants and the people that we represent would be a good community for you. And this year, our chapter sponsor is Corsica Technologies. And now you are done listening to me and you get to hear from Wade, which is why you're really here, let's be honest. So, Wade is actually a product principal at Dual Boot Partners.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Where he helps companies build great products. Great businesses build great products. Dual Boot Partners, I have a good friend that works with him in the Charlotte office, Michelle. Shout out to Michelle. Does software development services for companies looking to upgrade from legacy technologies to newer technologies, maybe augment or complement their team of software developers. He's also the founder and CTO of an HR tech platform, Suggestion OX.
Ox. Like a suggestion box without the B.
Oh, love it.
It's easy.
And previously, he was one of the founders and CTOs of a sports technology company called TeamSnap, which we were talking about at the table because there are people at our table who have student athletes. And he's been the CTO and VP of engineering at a lot of companies. I'll let you read. What he's also known for, more famously known for, is he is the announcer for our Carolina Hurricanes. So if you've ever been to one of those events, you know, the hurricane season is very long. We were talking like September until April, 41 home games, and he never misses a game. So he's always the announcer, and he learns all of the names of all of the players of the guest team as well as the home team. So great accomplishment. Our Carolina Hurricanes are having a great year. They've had a great history, a great season. It's harder to get tickets, right? And he's a 25-year veteran of improv comedy and a performer. So if you need a speaker and a presenter, you'd rather hear him talk than me, right? And was a professional wrestling announcer, recreational ice hockey skater, and goalie. He's kind of weird.
I lead a weird life.
That's true. All right, so let's welcome Wade to the stage.
Technology was
Love it when a plan comes together. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet all of you. Hey, so yes, all of that was true, especially the hurricanes part. So if you're coming out to our game on Saturday or Sunday this weekend, you'll hear me. If you've been out to a game in the last 9.5 years, you've heard me. So it's weird because the announcer voice and my speaking voice aren't super close, so people, if they don't know it's me, kind of don't know it's me. Plus, no one knows what I look like. So now you're in the select group, you know what I look like. I'm sorry for that. Cool. This is going to be a ride, y'all. Okay, so how to build great products people love. It's something that I feel very passionately about. I've done it a few different places. I've got some opinions, and I'll kind of talk about the process that we do here, kind of through my life experience, my career experience, talk a little bit about different options you can take, where you might want to go. There'll be some time for Q&A, so that'll be fun for everybody. And I may get you out of here early, which I know everyone always appreciates. So before I get started, a quick show of hands. How many people here manage software development organizations? Raise your hand if you manage software development organization. Awesome. Cool. How many people here are leaders of groups that develop software? It should be the same people. How many people never answer questions involve raising your hand? That was a paradox. You just broke the universe. It's always one, isn't there? All right, cool. So whether or not you are in charge of building software, whether or not your company does software, you've probably got software somewhere in your life, for good or for bad. And to build that software and to get it to a point where it's an asset for you, there's some things you should do, and there are probably some things you should not do. And we'll talk about those coming up. Yeah, it's called a teaser in the business. All right, that's me. As you saw during the slide that was up when you were coming in, having dinner, I own one T-shirt. It's this one. Yeah, I'm not a fashion guy. All right, so that's about it. Yeah, good times. All right, great oldies. So, software development process, huh? Yeah, cool. Now, how does that work? All right. How many people here, and this is actually not a bit, I'm actually asking a legitimate question this time as far as you know. How many people here feel like you kind of understand the software development lifecycle process? All right, that's a good number of people. Awesome. And the rest of you, I appreciate your honesty. They're probably at least happy to raise your hand or lying, but that's okay. We don't judge here, and I'm not going to follow you home. So the software development process, from idea to build to deliver to iterate, it's a hoot and a holler, as my kids say. So we're going to talk about that coming up. All right. This is where, if you disagree with me, you can save that for disagreement time, which is in the parking lot next Tuesday. It's all going to be like this, y'all. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Cool. So, broadly speaking, software development lifecycle process. You've got a thing you want to build. How do you get it built? First is the design phase, and that can be UI, UX design. It can be architectural design. It can be a lot of that. You got to kind of figure out what this thing is. What are the pieces? What's it going to look like? What's it going to do? How's it going to fit? You have to figure out the infrastructure, so the software doesn't just kind of run in the air. It's got to run on machines. It's got to run in a place. It's got servers. It's got networks. It's got databases. How does that fit into your company's particular choices for technology, your infrastructure? Then there's the development. The people, at least at this point, people banging their fingers on spoilers, banging their fingers on keyboards, writing the code, testing the code, deploying the code, the infrastructure, and then you've got the QA and release part of it. How do you test this thing? Make sure it does what it's supposed to do. Make sure the plane doesn't fall out of the air, Delta. How do you? I told you it was all like this. How do you release this? How do you get it out to users in a way that is non-disruptive? And then how do you go and do it all over again? That was a lot of questions with no answers, so we should probably get ahead to that. All right, cool. So say you want to get some software built. No one said it. Okay. So say you want to get some software built. How can you do this? It is 20 by God 24. The AI is taking over. I have budget. I need people. Maybe I don't know. How do I get my software built? My company needs the softwares. but I don't know how to do it. Or maybe I know how to do it, but there's a better way that I'm not thinking of. So the few options, broadly speaking, again, I can't cover every edge case because we'll be here for a very long time. But if you want to build stuff, there are a few different ways you can approach it. There's the traditional way, which I think most people are pretty hip to. You hire people. You go recruit, you interview them, you bring them in, you wine and dine them, you give them a job offer, they think about it, they take the offer from Amazon instead, and you go back and do it again. But eventually you find that person. And you bring them in, you hire them internally, the plan is to keep them around for a long time, tech layoffs notwithstanding, but they are a full-time commitment, they are salaried employees, you keep them around, and then you hopefully grow and develop them. But if that's not kind of your speed, if that's not kind of what's working for you, you can hire freelancers. These are individuals. You can go out and find these individuals. And they can be people you know, they can be people from a talent network, but you're directly contracting to someone who is a contractor. They are not a full-time employee. They are potentially working for other people, depending on your particular arrangement. But they are there, and again, it's kind of part of the game. They're easier to kind of scale up and down. You can get rid of them easier. They know that, you know that. And so if you need that kind of flexibility, you can go out and hire freelancers. It comes with its own pluses and minuses. A newer way that you can get development talent is through a venture studio. Who knows about venture studios? Raise your hand. Awesome. Not many. That's interesting. Okay, cool. So a venture studio is generally a software development agency. And their gimmick, because I worked in wrestling, I can say that. Their gimmick is they will build your stuff for you for almost or possibly $0 spent. That's pretty cheap. What's the catch? Well, the catch is they take a lot of equity. They are your partner in the product or company that you're building. They're getting paid on the upside of the equity. They're not getting paid in cash. That's their model. But if you have an idea, and you don't have cash, and you believe that like half of something is better than 100% nothing, certainly a valid way to do it. And then finally, the world that I know, software development agencies, you go to a company, that company is there to provide you certain skills, people, expertise, a process. Sometimes they can manage everything soup to nuts, sometimes they are filling in specific roles, but ultimately you are contracting with a company, that company then has people, they're their people, not your people. Even though you might think they're your people, and try to hire them, and then that gets messy. But you're working with the company, and that company is your partner. So again, broadly speaking, ways to do that. Cool. So I've thought about how I kind of want to do this. How much is it going to cost? Well, my favorite phrase, it depends. Wait, how much is it going to cost me to build this thing? It depends. They don't like that answer. They want me to give them a number. And I'm like, I can lie to you if you'd like. But I don't think that's going to work out well for any of us. All right, so the prices are all over the place, y'all. And that's kind of what we do here. I'm going to move this over here because that was not a good idea to set this way over here because I'm old and my eyes don't work anymore. I wish I was kidding. Thank you for laughing.
Your voice, not your eyes.
Yeah, join the club. I appreciate that. I've got bifocals now. It's cool. And hit me. Anyway, hiring internally. So say you want to hire full-time employees, and that's the thing that you want to do. Cool. There's a lot more of them on the market now that every tech company is doing 15% layoffs every 6 months. But it's all things being equal, it's pretty pricey. I work mainly in the startup space. That's the world that I come from. So that's kind of where my viewpoint is. If you are from Blue Cross, then awesome. Please pay more of my bills. So, but different levels of business, cost is a different thing. But on average, according to Glassdoor, a software developer in North Carolina, average annual salary about $125,000. That seems low to me, but we'll take their word for it. Then you've got taxes, then you've got benefits. So ultimately, your cash out of banks can be, $200K per person. More senior people, leadership, those roles tend to take a little bit more. Design, design and QA, unfortunately for them, tend to be a little bit cheaper. Now, You could go to a freelancer where you're directly hiring someone either here in the States, nearshore, offshore. They can be very, very, very inexpensive if you find people. $20 an hour you can find in folks in places. You could, if you're hiring people in the U.S., $200, $300, $400, $500 an hour for really skilled people. It's all over the place. And depending on the freelancer, depending on your particular organization, the quality of a freelancer can vary pretty widely. There are brilliant people, and there are folks who have that job because they couldn't get any other job, and you might not know upfront who you're getting. And the long-term reliability, unless they are kind of an established, this is what I do, freelancer, they might be sitting around waiting for that next job to come along, and then they're like, hey, thanks for the contract. I'm going to work at Amazon. And if you're hiring freelancers, because they are individuals, you will have to take on more of the management burden of making sure that you can manage those people and as part of your team. So as I said, Venture Studios, I really shouldn't have gone, you have another breath. As Venture Studios, I'm so old. As I mentioned before, they can work for no cash, but they're going to demand a lot of equity. I talked to a friend of mine who runs one, and I said, how much equity do they take? And he says, it depends. And I'm like, you asshole, that's my line. Can't get good. But he said, it can be anywhere from like 25% of equity in the company to 80%. They're also going to want to have a large say in the overall operation of your business because their pay depends on you not being an idiot. So, that's just kind of part of that life if you decide to sign up for it. It can be very, very cheap in terms of cash outlay. And then development firms, like there's a bunch of us out here. There's one here. There's one over there. Like nothing that we do is magic, right? Like we do not have a lock on some sort of secret here. Like there's a bunch of us out there. They can vary, geographic location, how important is time zone overlap. They can vary breadth of skill. We only do this language. We only hire senior developers. Like there's a lot of specialization there. But broadly speaking, and you may not if you think if I'm correct here, if you're working with a development company, you expect roughly 2x the cost of what you would do if you found that person just on the street and you decide to pay them. Like, because there's overhead for the development company as well. It depends. Thank you. What an asshole. I tossed the softball, man. It's still flying. But yes. Proportionally more expensive for the same type of people because the company that is working with you needs to make money. Ideally, they are bringing you additional value as a company, either through stability or particular skill sets or value adds or whatever. They can charge by the hour, charge by the project. So, wait, how much is this going to cost me? So for Dual Boot, which is the only one that I can really speak to, that's where I work, people go and say, hey, I want to build a thing, how much is it going to cost? And I'm like, well, the average MVP, getting something from idea to market, it may not be exactly the thing that you think about in your head because it's that big. Roughly 4 to 6 months, $250,000, $300,000 for us. And we hope that's worth it. Other folks have different prices, other folks have different models. But I think, roughly speaking, you kind of see where I'm going with that. All right. You're like, this is an ad for Dual Boot. It's not really, but... that's the world I know. I can talk to you about it. I can't tell you what it's like to be a venture studio. It's not what I do. How do I engage a development firm? Like, okay, well, it sounds like that might be a model I want to explore. Like, how do I do it right? What is the right way to do this? So again, there's nothing unique about what we do. I work for a outsourced software development agency, and I get minimum 15 emails a day trying to sell me outsourced software development to my Dual Boot partner's email address. It's rough. Like you are not reading anything. But a lot of different people throw an approach. So you got to find what works for you. So you can have hourly or fixed bid type arrangements. So fixed bid is, I think this project's going to cost you $100,000. Whether I'm right or wrong, that's how much you're paying. It could be an hourly, like we only do hourly. So it's like, yeah, this is this much an hour, and we think it's probably going to land between here and here, but it might not. we'll keep you in the loop. But I do personally think, and this is not just because Dual Boot doesn't, you can take that with as many grains of salt as you need, fixed bid arrangements can, in my opinion, and in Dual Boot's opinion, incentivize bad behavior on both sides. For a fixed bid, I, the development agency, am incentivized to cut as many possible quarters as I can on the project to maximize my profit. If I can, get this done faster, cheaper, then that's just money in my pocket, right? You, our client, bless your hearts, are incentivized to cram as much stuff in that project as humanly possible. Just one more thing, just one more thing. You sound like Columbo, and it's not good for anybody. So you're incentivized to cram as much stuff in there because you want to get as much work out of that fixed bid as possible. And so there's kind of a source of conflict there. Hourly, yes, it's less predictable, but everyone's kind of playing off the same sheet of music there. This picks up every breath I take. I feel like staying. So resource allocation, so you want to build something with an agency. What do you have to commit to get the people you need? There are certainly models out there where it's like, oh, you need a designer. That's 40 hours a week, every single week, for as long as the project goes. They're like, well, I only need 3 weeks of them. Well, that sounds like a you problem. Find something for them to do where you don't get them. And from the development firm standpoint, we got to hire those people. We got to keep them. We're paying them whether you're paying us or not. So that, there's a certain logic there, but that might not be what you need. How long do you team members stick around? What is the average rate of retention for this particular development partner? Is there a lot of turnover? Do people stick around for a long time? Because you don't want to be getting new developers every 6 months. We don't want to be giving you new developers every 6 months. So, it's kind of incumbent upon us to make sure that our people are happy, they're sticking around, like we're treating them well. But you need to kind of know what you're getting into there. What size team are people recommending? It could be, yes, we provide a very low rate for our developers. To do this project, you're going to need 15 people. Well, we provide a higher rate, but to do this project, you're going to need 5. Again, there's no right and wrong answer, but looking at just rates doesn't necessarily give you total cost. So think about that as you're looking at different development options. This is math. I was not a math major, but I feel confident in this. More people at a lower rate can be higher than fewer people at a higher rate. Just understand what you're getting into. And finally, this is the important one, so I put it last. I'm going to take a breath before I do this. Standing up is hard. So, if you're working with an outside company, if you take nothing else from my talk today, take this. Make sure you own everything. Everything. You might not be technical, all of you in this room probably are, but own your own GitHub account, own your own Amazon account, own your email sending service account. Have them check the code into your source code repositories. I can't tell you how many times in my 5 years at Dual Boot we signed a new project, and the kickoff call is a call with the lawyers and the previous dev company who are holding your stuff hostage because you didn't pay your bills. It's not a situation you want to be in. Make sure everyone is very, very upfront. Even if you're not the AWS expert, put that thing in your name, put it in your credit card, get them to tell you how to grant them access to the stuff they need, because if things go sideways, and they do sometimes, you have the ability to remove them from your stuff, and you still own it. Worst possible case that I hear on a regular basis is, we signed up with this dev company in Turkmenistan, and they were like $5 an hour, and they built our product. And then there was like a revolution, and our site went down, and I can't find them anymore. Don't do that. Own your stuff. If you take nothing else from this talk, take that away. Own your stuff. If your dev company says you can't do that, tell them to get that. All right. You can use stronger, nicer language depending on your personality. All right. So, well, wait, I'm kind of interested in freelancers and contractors. How do I find those people? Well, I'll tell you. So again, you've got options. So there are onshore freelancers, there are offshore freelancers. US-based people are always going to be more expensive because this is a fairly high cost of living country we live in. I don't know if you've paid your rent lately, but that's true. Most, not all, offshore places will be less expensive, some markedly so, some marginally so. I'm assuming most people here grew up here are native English speakers. Not everybody is. So if you need that cultural fit, if you need to talk to people directly with language to language, and you are not multilingual, they probably are because they know more languages than you do. A U.S.-based person has better odds of having kind of the same cultural background you do, same language background. However, offshore, you can probably find higher quality talent per cost. But they might be native Spanish speakers, they might be native Hindi speakers, they might be native Russian speakers, whatever. Again, it's all trade-offs. Everything's trade-offs. So, but as you're looking at that, just kind of understand your cost, your culture, skill, all of that stuff in the matrix, and figure out what works for you. Now, if you want to find freelancers, you can go to talent marketplaces. That's right. Who has used TopTool, Upwork, Fiverr before? Wow, that's fewer people than I thought. Okay, cool. So for those of you who don't know, you can go post projects, freelancers from around the world, or whatever area you select. You can come bid on them. You can kind of see their resume, you can see their portfolio. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of talent. This is a big planet, and there's a lot of smart people out there. So you can kind of find the person whose background, whose price, whose previous work is the right choice for you out of a massive pool of people. You're paying platform fees there. They generally don't want you to hire these people directly because it's their talent. There's some scams out there, but massive talent pool. And if that's the fit for you, it's a good place to find them. You can have direct engagements. So that's where, like, hey, I need to hire a freelance AWS expert. I need to hire a freelance Ruby developer, whatever. Any of y'all know anybody? Anybody? And to send them to me, like I want to talk to them. So that's where you're kind of going out and sourcing through your network, directly hiring people. We've all got a lot of folks in our networks. Like, you can find people who've already kind of been pre-vetted. They are known quantities to somebody you know. Those tend to be the best engagements because they're coming with a kind of seal of approval from somebody you already know and trust. Downside of that, much smaller talent pool. You might not find the people you need. So, and you got to make sure you're vetting these people properly, because in an age of remote work, where you're not going to be sitting next to these people by and large, is the person you hired the person who's working on this? I don't know. They're just names on a screen, right? And there certainly are scams out there where you will find a freelancer, you'll do a video call with them. Sometimes they're like, oh, my camera's not working. But you'll talk to somebody, you'll have a relationship, and then weirdly enough, when they start working, they seem different a little bit the person you talk to, because it's not the same person. It is just kind of a risk of the industry. So, go through, make sure you're doing the appropriate vetting for whatever you're doing. If it's an anonymous person off of a talent marketplace, that's hard to do. But there are a lot of legitimate people on there. But, the risks are higher. Hire a freelancer that you've never seen, who will not be coming into anywhere that you happen to be geographically and you're trusting with your company's work. So, just forewarned. How do you hire directly? Because I can't word. How do I hire directly? I was not an English major either. Okay. So say you want to hire directly. What do you need to know about hiring directly? So please, I ask you, as brothers and sisters of mine in the industry, don't hire people you're not planning on keeping around, man. That's not cool. Unless you are very, very upfront about this. Like, there are times when it was perfectly the case of me, like, we got 6 months to save this company. I'm hiring you in here. If we do it, you're sticking around. If not, we're all going to the dumpster behind the food line. And that's fine if everyone's operating on the same information. But know your budget, know your timelines, know your runway for your company, for your project, whatever. If you can't commit to keeping somebody around for a while, please consider other options. It's not nice. Consider the right mix of people for your team. If these people are going to be sticking around for a while, they're going to be part of your organization. They're going to learn and grow. Find the right mix of people. You don't always need to hire a senior developer to do everything. They are super expensive. Not everything is senior developer work that you do. I know. Bless your hearts. The stuff you're doing is super innovative. It's cutting edge. It's brilliant stuff, and clearly nobody other than a PhD from Stanford can understand this. I challenge you to take a step back, because I guarantee, for most of you, not all of you, what you're doing is taking shit out of a database, doing stuff to it, putting it on the screen, getting somebody else to do stuff to it, and sticking it back in the database. It's not that deep. But if you can find the right mix of people and put them in the right roles, then everyone's going to feel challenged. Everyone's going to feel like they have an opportunity to grow. No one's going to be resentful about what they do. And your budget and your CFO will be a lot happier. Recruiting and interviewing. I hate that I have to put this sentence in here, but apparently there's a trend of companies posting fake jobs on Indeed or job boards and LinkedIn and stuff like that that they have no intention of filling. Don't. You can choose not to do that. Don't do that. But do use your network, raise awareness of your jobs to people that you trust to find you good people. Hire people who are interested in learning and growing. Please don't put them through 12 rounds of interviews. If you're not learning anything new, I guarantee you, in interview number 11, you're not. Are you learning anything new in the 11th round?
No, why would a company post fake jobs?
Because they're assholes. No. So according to what I read, and this is not first-party information for me, sometimes it's to hype their company up, like, oh yeah, we're growing, even though we laid off 20% of our workforce last month. Like, we're a cool, hip company. Like, we're getting bigger. Just we're not hiring any of these jobs. Sometimes it's to keep applicants warm, like, oh, you're applying for this fake job that we're not hiring for, but now you're in our system. Again, no good reasons, but I think those are the reasons that people might do it. The other tip I have is someone who's built a lot of teams and really enjoys building teams. Is I have had so much better luck finding people who have kind of the right approach to building products and solving problems. And a lot of times they come from non-traditional backgrounds. You got somebody who came up through a computer science program, they've been doing software all their life. All they think about software, that's cool, that's awesome, love that for you. But people who've actually had a real life outside of software can often help you think about problems in a better way. And honestly, what is software? Software is not the end. The software is not the thing we care about. The problem we're solving is the thing we care about. Software is the means to get there in a lot of cases. So my phrase that I use a lot when I'm looking to hire people is, I can teach you to code. I can't teach you to give a shit. So if you give a shit about what we're doing and the problem we're solving and what we're trying to bring into the world, even if you're not the world's best coder, you're probably going to do all right. So that's my little rant there. And then finally, if you have internal hires, give them opportunities to learn and grow. They already know your company, your system, your process. The person who's ready to take a step up, become a leader, and then you hire somebody from the outside, maybe that's the right call, but don't assume that's the way you have to do it. Like, give people a chance to learn and grow, because they'll stick around your company a lot longer because they feel like you're looking out for them. Otherwise, that 2 years that most of us stay in a job, they're just going to keep churning it. All right, this is where I rant a lot. Okay, cool, I'll move on. What do you need to do on your end for hiring direct hires and people? Their do's and don'ts. Do provide business context and feedback. Technical specifications are great. They're the how, not the why. People need to know the why. Why are we building this? Why does this matter? So as much as you're trying to give them technical feedback, give them contextual feedback as much, if not more. Because software development is a creative exercise. Whether you're hiring a firm, a freelancer, a full-time employee, it is a creative exercise. There's a million decisions software developer makes every day that they have to just kind of make their best decision on. If they know why they're doing it, they're going to make better decisions. Don't micromanage people. These people, in theory, you have brought them in because they're good at what they do. Unless you are the smartest person in the room, which you may be in certain subjects. Don't tell them what buttons to push on the keyboard. No. Give them goals. Give them guidelines. Like, this is what success looks like. This is what failure looks like. Let them do their thing. If they mess up, tell them why they messed up and how to fix it, and then move on. So no one is happy being micromanaged. Have you ever been happy being micromanaged? Raise your hand if you have, because I want to come talk to you. I just want to talk. You roll of quarters in my pocket, nothing. But no, none of us like that. Don't do to your people. Whether you're working with a full-time employee, a contracting company, a freelancer, raise concerns early. God, this is the bane of my existence. Where we'll be working with a client, we're building them something, having daily stand-ups, bi-weekly meetings, keeping everybody in the loop. Everything's great, everything's great, everything's great. 4 months later, you guys are 4 months behind, I hate you. What? We talk every day. Yeah, but this thing was bugging me. I don't know that. Like, if you see something going sideways, please, whether it's your employer or us or anybody, tell us quickly. We can fix it. But if you sit there and stew on it and you're going, I ain't son of a bitch, like, no one is going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. We're not going to be happy. Your customers are not going to be happy. Please raise problems before they become crises, and you'll be so much happier. I know we're nice people. We're nice people. We want to be kind and polite to our developers or our partners. Like, no one likes having those hard conversations. So we put it aside until it becomes something that causes you to snap. Just get it out. And then finally, if you are hiring technical people and you're telling them to build something, let them work. Don't change the requirements all the time. Like, if you don't know what you're building, if you are changing the requirements every few weeks, no, we're doing this. No, we're going to do it this way. Don't hire them. What are you doing? Figure out what you're building first. Yes, there's agile. Yes, there's, adapting to customer feedback and, things like that. That should not change the requirements massively, like, at all, really, or frequently. But I see so many people who quit jobs as developers, and I'm like, why'd you leave? And they're like, yeah, I worked for a year and didn't ship anything because the product changed every month. Well, that's a leadership problem. That ain't a dev problem. So regardless, do's and don'ts that I recommend. All right, we're talking about products now. I've just been ranting about software developers. So I hope this is universal, but I'm going to ask anyway. Does everyone know what an MVP is in the context of software development? Is there anyone who does not know what I say when I say MVP? You are lying to me again, sir. Good times. All right, so you all know what MVP is. So MVP, minimum viable product, or whatever you kind of want to call it. It is the thing that you can get out quickly and test your idea. Again, I come from the startup world. If you're an enterprise company, this may not apply. So pretty much everybody I talk to wants to build something. The thing they have in their head, that they see in their head at the end of the tunnel, is that big. It does so much stuff, y'all. It solves so many problems in the world. You can't build that. Somewhere along the line, you were wrong about something. So really try to figure out what is the problem you're solving, and what is the smallest thing you could get out to your customer to see if they agree with you that you are solving this problem correctly. So if the thing you have in your head solves a ton of problems, pick one of them that somebody will hopefully pay for. Get that out, get it to people, get users using it, and figure out if you're right. One of the things that we did terribly at TeamSnap that I try not to do again, when you provide a solution that solves problems for people, make them pay for it. Like, that's the real test of whether or not you're providing value to people. If they're willing to pay you something, anything, commensurate with that value, you're probably onto something. The era of growth above all with no revenue is dead. Pour one out for it, it's not coming back. If you can get somebody to pay for your problem, then you are solving a problem. Get it out in front of people quickly, even if it sucks. And I know none of us want to put anything out in front of people that sucks. The however many 10, 100,000, 10,000 users who are using that first thing are just a fraction of the number of people who will ever use it. So, yeah, you might put something out there that's not fully baked, it's not complete, it's not even the real thing. You're like, oh my God, these people are going to hate me. They're not going to remember. They will not. And then finally, kind of, to use a hockey analogy for the first time, as Gretzky said, skate where the puck's going. Like, know where you're trying to go. You can always adjust, but as you're building a small thing, and then you're turning that small thing into a bigger thing, into a bigger thing, into a bigger thing, keep an eye on where you think this thing is going to go, because it'll help people make better decisions now, and you won't code yourself into a corner. Good God, I'm running out of time. All right. All right, talking about the future stuff here. So, how might this whole product development process look in the future? Well, a few things are kind of in the works right now. Low-code, no-code tools where you can build product without you yourself coding. They used to suck. They don't anymore. The tools are actually very advanced right now. You can build very complex software through tools that don't require you to know any underlying coding languages, which is really cool. Like, talk about getting ideas out there fast, right? Like, you could do this. Like, any of you in here could go to one of these tools and build an idea, which is great. It's super cheap. There's always trade-offs. So the trade-off in this is if you actually do land on something that's really cool and it takes off, eventually you're going to hit the limits of that low-code, no-code platform. Like, you're going to want to do things that it doesn't want to do. And then that's where it gets weird, because they don't care, really. The low-code, no-code platform, they're solving a problem, maybe not your problem. So now you have to rewrite it at that point. Maybe you have to cut back on the things you want to do. And if you build your business on top of somebody else's business, what happens if they go out of business? If this low-code, no-code platform gets bought by private equity and shut down, right? So yes, tons of advantages, but know the risks. AI for helping developers. It's 2024. This is non-controversial now. Pretty much every developer is using a co-pilot of some sort to help them write your code. So, those are great tools. They make developers more productive. They cut down a lot of the drudge work. They're really cool, and they're pretty effective. But there are still, I think, some unanswered questions around intellectual property and copyright that could pop up there. There are questions about whether or not there are unknown flaws in the code that is being generated. It is on the whole very much a net positive, but again, there's nothing that's 100% good. And then finally, the use of AI to build products. This is where everyone's super excited about now is, well, what if I don't need a developer? What if the AI agent is my developer? Wouldn't that be cool? Because they're a lot cheaper. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think it's an unsolvable problem. But 2024, 2025, I don't think we're in the world where a AI agent can write complex software. I think they can write kind of boilerplate stuff, and it's a very impressive party trick. But innovative stuff, I don't think we're there yet. My opinion, just one guy with an opinion. But in general, all of these LLMs rely on high-quality training data, and high-quality training data is becoming harder to get. There's a lot of AI slop on the internet that's being sucked into these machines. And there is a risk, I feel like, this is me editorializing, of quality kind of regressing to a mean as opposed to being innovative. But keep an eye on it. Could be interesting. So things to look for in 2025. I'm putting on my goggles. I'm looking down the road. Like I said, AI agents, I think, are going to be heavily hyped at the very least and potentially improving in 2025. So these are AI tools that talk to other AI tools talk to other AI tools, and the human is either not in the mix or at the very end. So a coding application that then talks to a QA application to write tests, that then talks to a code review application that checks the code, which then talks to a deployment agent, which deploys it. Everyone's kind of gunning for this. We'll see if it happens. I do think 2025 is going to be a year of second-level AI tooling. What do I mean by that? A lot of companies are building AI right now, OpenAI, et cetera, et cetera. But those are kind of very fundamental building blocks. I think we're going to start to see additional tooling come that is a layer on top of the base layer of Gen AI that provides additional value, additional features, and you will be buying products from them, maybe not even directly from the OpenAIs of the world. A buddy of mine's building a company, for example, that is trying to detect model drift. I'm running things through models. Is it giving me consistent answers, or is the model changing? Do I need to know about that? That's not an AI tool, but it is a tool that makes your AI better. So I think we're going to see more of those types of tooling coming along. And then finally, I think there are a lot of questions around security, auditability, repeatability in AI. It is a magic black box. It is Mad Libs that is just fascinating. You have no idea how it got where it got. Plus, people know about prompt injection, right? Do you know what I say when I'm talking about prompt injection? It's really funny on Twitter when some bot is spreading Russian disinformation and you tell you a poem about broccoli instead, and it does it. That's hilarious. But just like we used to have the ability to kind of insert things into databases from user-generated content through SQL injection, the same thing can happen in your AI models. Like people can break out of the model, and you don't want that really. I hope. Auditability. Can you trace what you got all the way back to kind of the core data objects? You're going to have to at some point. Someone's going to ask. Right now, it's just like, yeah, I used this model, I told it something, and this is what came out on the other end. Well, how'd you get there? I think that's good. I think there's going to be more requirements about and more pressure for businesses to be able to audit. Like, no, how did you get there? Because people are asking. And then repeatability. Gen AI models spit out stuff. Who knows if it's the same stuff they spit out before? Well, if you feed in the same inputs, in theory, you want to get the same outputs. And there's really no way to tell. So I think there's going to be a push in 2025 for being able to have models that are consistently repeatable. Come back in 2026, tell me if I'm right. All right, I'm going to skip over that because that was just an app we built. You don't care. So, yeah, cool. 8 o'clock, Q&A time.
Yay,
Awesome.
Good timing.
Good timing. Yeah, love that for me. All right, so I have talked at you for quite a while now. I have told you kind of my thoughts on the world. I am glad to answer any questions you have about anything I've said. So, all right, cool. All right, eager crowd. All right, we're going to the back here.
Do we need express written consent from the NHL for you to do your announcer voice?
Do we need express written consent from the NHL to do my announcer voice? You do not. We'll save that to the end as a special treat. Can't have your pudding if you don't eat your meat. All right. Other questions? Yes, sir.
So on that vetting
Yes.
subject matter,
Vetting, yes.
how do you guys verify like folks that
How do we do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
what's a good practice?
yeah, what's a good practice? So we are an agency. We hire developers who work for us, and then they work for you. So for us specifically, I can talk about dual boot. We tend to hire people from our existing developers networks. They have people they know. They can recommend people that work at other companies that they've worked in the past. So a lot of our hiring comes from our existing people's own networks. So that's kind of how we try to ensure quality. Because if this developer would not work with somebody else again, they're not going to send them our way. We also do an interview process. Our remote folks are in remote offices, so people actually do lay eyes on them and kind of verify they are who they are. For other ones, just really try to get a sense of, is this person who they say they are? Not so much in like an identity sense, showing you a driver's license, but resumes are what they are. Like, really try to talk to them about how they approach problems. I think you learn a lot more about if they're actually legit, then getting them to do a coding exercise, because again, monkeys can do that. Questions? Yes. Yes, that's right, you. This isn't TV, I can see you.
The developers really see a difference between SDLC and security SDLC.
Do developers see a difference between SDLC and security SDLC? I think it depends on the developer. Hey, it depends. I do think, in my experience, limited though it is harder to get developers to think about the security implications of their code. On average, it may just be the people I hang out with. They're all criminals. But I do think it is harder for them to think about the security side, and there needs to be guidance from above to make sure that they've got that mindset. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to add one thing.
Yes.
If you are talking with your developer, definitely he will do it. If you are just doing a micromanagement with him, he will not take it. Just to add up to your answer.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Micromanagement stifles the creativity out of developers. If they're like, look, man, I'm trying to do work here, and you're just telling me what buttons to push. Just tell me. Like, I'll clock in. You tell me what you want me to do. You want me to do that? Cool, I'll do that. And that's not a good use of developers. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help them. They're there to ideally bring a perspective to your business that is valuable. So excellent point. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So for Dualwood, do you see that you only get certain types of clients, like you mentioned, they have problems with this other company you work with, or maybe they're a startup, they don't have staff, or are you able to convince other types of clients of the value?
Yeah. The question is about Dualwood specifically. Do we only kind of get certain types of work, like some of the stuff I've talked about, like rescue jobs or hey, the lawyer's on the phone or things like that? We have a pretty broad client base. We're about 450 developers. We've done hundreds of projects across pretty much any vertical you can think of. We have a pretty broad technology set. I would say that at Dualwood, and I'm not going to turn this into a commercial for Dualwood, our work can broadly be thought of in kind of three buckets. One is kind of project work, new build, like, hey, go do this thing, tell me when you're done. There's a segment of work that's kind of staff augmentation, where we have engineering leadership, we have product leadership, we need more people, or we need more people in certain skill sets. We do that. And then kind of the third major bucket is we have old tech. It's needed to be put out to pasture a long time ago. It's business critical. It's running Cold Fusion or something. Please, we need to come in. Please, there's Cold Fusion fans in here? Good. If this is a 1992 buy Apple stock, trust me. But come in and help us modernize the stack so it's in the same thing that we build everybody else. Everything else we build in. But broadly speaking, I think our work across a lot of different markets. That's just us. Yes.
So the title of your talk is How to Build Products.
Yeah, we didn't really get too deep into that, did we? It's rambling.
I want to have sort of an interactive conversation on that. So if you're looking at a product from your perspective, and you have an opportunity to have a couple questions to determine whether this is a successful product.
Yeah.
What three questions would you ask?
What three questions would I ask if I was talking to a potential client to determine if this would be a successful product?
Or if you're looking at an actual product.
Or if we're looking at an actual product that's already there to determine, like, does this thing have legs? I think they're similar questions. All right, cool. I've not been asked that before, so thank you for that. Something new. Number one, I would ask, how have you tested this idea? There are a lot of people who come in and say, I could make $1 billion doing a dating app for hamsters. And you're like, what? Like, oh yeah, I talked to a VC friend, he's totally going to invest. One of the cool things, and one of the terrifying things simultaneously, is how much of the world runs on Excel. So much of the world runs on Excel. And non-technical people do that. So when I'm looking at a product and saying, is this product going to be something, and like, have you done the work that this thing's going to do first for yourself or anybody else? And if you haven't, how are you going to tell me that this product's going to be good? Like, go through the steps first. You don't need technology to kind of go through the steps. Do that first. The second one is there a business model that makes sense? So many people think about revenue at the end. Well, fundraising is hard right now. So if a product can't bring in revenue, or can't bring in like commensurate with its value revenue, is that product going to be able to stand the test of time? I think that's one of the big keys is if no one will pay you for this, you have a hobby, not a business. And I have lots of code I've written that no one will ever pay me for, and it's fun, but I'm not trying to pretend that's a business. So that would be another one. Like, have you proven that there's a business model for this? And number 3, do you know how? Can you visualize the steps of how to get from where you are now to where you want to go? So many people could take the leap from where I am now, which could be 0, or it could be a working product, to the thing that they think is going to take over the world, but they can't articulate the steps between. And those are really important because you're not going to be able to build that end goal up front. You're going to be wrong, I guarantee you. So if they can't think of like how would I, even without the tech, how would I see this growing? That's a sign that they haven't really thought about the mechanics of the business. So those would be my answers.
Right, or they see the initial win and not necessarily how it becomes a business.
That's actually a really good point, because sometimes they're like, I built a thing, the thing is good, this is all the thing will ever be. Yeah. And then people can come in and say, well, actually, you've got the kernel of something really good here, and here's how you could grow. That's an excellent point. Thank you. Other questions? Hey. Jesus Christ, that jumped out at me. Other questions? Walking. Yes, sir.
So to that point, you consult on those things, or that's not what your firm does? You're just like, we can't help you if you haven't kind of thought this thing through, or do you have people who can help them walk through that?
Yeah, so for Dual Boot, we are not the experts in your business. You are, but we are the experts in helping you understand how you could be a business. Like, because we've seen a ton of projects, and we've seen them go well, and we've seen them be absolute train wrecks, and we've seen everything in between, and we've kind of figured out like some patterns. So if you're building a legal app, we're not lawyers. We don't know your business, but we know how you acquire customers. We know how you think about your market. So we can help you figure out those answers, but we, by and large, can't give you the answers. We'll never know as much about your business as you do. But our value is really, if you can't tell us that you've thought about that, cool, let's have a session where we talk about how you get those answers. Yeah, that's kind of how we approach it.
One more question.
One more question, yes, because I'm a yapper. I'm fluent in Japanese. I can talk all night. I stole that from my daughter, so blame them. She's so scandalized right now. I'm going to tell my daughters that I did something bad. Okay. I know. I'm sorry. Cool. Any other questions besides her calling the cops on me? Any other questions? All right. If not, I did have a request early on. To bring out the announcements. All right, so I will do a Carolina Hurricanes goal call for you. As you might hear in Lenovo Center, hashtag not PNC Arena. Hashtag branding. So I'll do a goal call as if it was happening during the game, so you can, if you have not been to a Canes game, you can see what you're missing. All right. Carolina Hurricanes goal! His 10th of the season scored by number 20, Sebastian Aho!
Thank you, Lee. That was awesome. I learned a lot. I appreciate you coming. And our little thank you for our speakers is a free 3-month membership. So hopefully you come back and attend some of our future events. Everyone in the room, save the date. I know you get invited to a lot of holiday parties. We would love for you to come to our holiday party. December 12th. It is open on the website. You can register. You can register now and bring your friends, and hopefully we get the big room. Register early so we get the big room. We haven't decided if we're going to do trivia or karaoke or bingo or something cool.
But there is dessert. We're going to do dessert.
I always bring desserts. Yes, there will be dessert. December 12th, holiday party. Mark your calendars. And then January 9th is going to be cyber security topic. So we're gonna kick off the new year.
Teaser. Don't, you can't give it all away.
Teaser.
Something on cybersecurity, something so cool you can't miss.
Can't
Fear
miss.
of missing out January. Hashtag
FOMO January. So those are our next two events that Wade you can join us for because you get a 3-month membership. If there's not a Canes game on those Thursdays, that's
We
home.
can ask them to move.
That's home.
We're the second Tuesday. They can move one day.
That's right.
We should all go to
Field trip to the everyone's it's BYO ticket.
That's
Bye.
right.
That's more than his best right here.
Right. Thank you all for coming. Feel free to network and meet other people you didn't get a chance to talk to. We appreciate all of you coming here. Survey will be going out and let us know if you have any thoughts or opinions or ideas of how we can improve. Thank you for the reminder, Jerome. This week was Veterans Day, celebrating our military force and veterans. Thank you to any of our servicemen or women or veterans in the room or family members of veterans. And thank you all.